Welcome back to Fairway Media's coverage of the 2023 Summers End Fling, brought to you by Fort George Brewery, Fort Stevens State Park, All Day Disc Golf, and Matt Bailey Realty. We are checking in for round two, part two. My name is Cory Jones. On the mic with me is John Bernardo. How you doing, John?
I'm doing splendid. How are you, Cory?
Doing fantastic. Loving this coverage of such a beautiful course. Thank you again, Jesse Tomaino, for putting on the event, all the sponsors, and Fairway Media for covering the event. Make sure if you haven't yet watched round one and round two, part one, to check it out. Lead card today, Sean Martin, Trevor Loftin, Samuel Benson, and John Bernardo. Let's get into it. Hole 13, par 3, 317 feet with a very picturesque drive. Why don't you walk us through this one?
Sure. You got a dealer's choice if you want to throw a forehand flex out to the left and fade it right, or backhand. You could do something similar. You could spike something in there. Basket's down in a little bit of a depression here, so you can give it a real run once you get within putting range. And as always, if you're out here on the coast, wind is going to be a factor. This is one of my favorite holes on the course, though. You get to throw off the top of a big hill. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the views out of this course, if anybody's ever in the area, gotta check it out. It's not too often you get to play disc golf right next to the ocean. Here we have Sam Benson ripping out a backhand.
And if you do come out this way, visit Fort George on your way back, get a nice pizza. It's always nice to have a big pizza after a Pacific Northwest round.
I cannot argue with that. This is tracking really well. That is down on the dance floor for sure. Here we have Sean. Really matching that downhill angle nicely. The wind is kind of pushing it down, but it gets a couple hop, skip, and a jump, and it's within range to convert.
Yeah, that looked good out of his hand. I'm going Firebird. Trying to play the wind.
Also really well managed angle there. You always want to try to match the slope of your playing, so when you're throwing downhill, you don't want to go too nose up or too straight. You do want to kind of direct it down the hill, and that was nicely done. Sam lining up. Great bid. Get it. Aww. Really close from Sean. His misses have not been large at all. If he's missing, he tends to be hitting the target in some form, and that was another close one, just a little bit outside left.
Yeah, good spin out of his hand on his putts.
Trevor's definitely low pretty much the whole way, but again, you can hear, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah, no, he was trying to spin it through the wind, just straight into the basket.
Oh, that is the one thing you just never want to see. So close. Riding its way down the hill a bit. Great comeback, though.
Yep, that was longer than the birdie look.
Absolutely.
I knew that was an opportunity to get a stroke on the card, and if you haven't played here, it's 23 holes, so, you know, when you're through 9, you still feel like you have ample time to keep pace with the card. But now we're on hole 13, and I know I gotta convert on these opportunities I get, because you only get so many more opportunities.
Absolutely. Moving on to hole 14, par 3, 430 feet. Another just beautiful view as you get to look down at this pin that is slightly protected depending on how you throw at it. But once you're out there, you have a pretty wide open putt.
Yeah, you just want to smash one down the middle here. You don't need to get cute with it. Maybe you could just crush a forehand out there and fade it back towards the basket, but throw a straight back in right at it. Don't mess with it.
More great angle control from Sam there, really directing the disc down the hill, especially in conditions like this. I mean, not only can you see the rain catching the camera, but the wind is swirling out there, and it's blowing every which way.
Maybe the signature hole out here, throwing off the top of the actual fort itself.
Yeah, on a bright summer day, I don't think you could beat the view. What are you throwing here?
This is a Thunderbird. I remember this shot. My hand was just a little wet. I probably should have stopped and just re-dried and reset up, but felt like I just wanted to get it over with. Didn't trust the disc with enough anhyzer.
That is definitely a struggle that players from the Northwest will deal with on a fairly regular basis throughout the golf season. So
that was a zone approach, bit of a poor approach. I didn't want to throw the disc high because I didn't want to expose it to the wind if I didn't have to. Thought I could just slide it in there for an easy par.
not too far off from that happening either. Just kind of caught the edge of that tree on its way by.
See, Sam's a pretty cerebral player. I think he was laying it up so he could have a tailwind putt. Like to see that out on the course.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very well angle controlled into the wind so that it kind of hit the brakes on that tailwind side, as you said. Valiant effort there because there was a lot to be had. Here we have Trevor going through the routine, just really trying to stay inside his game plan, play the best golf he can. He's been doing really well so far. Just a little low. On target, though.
You switch your putter when you're in the wind, or you just throw the same thing and know you got to spin it to a greater degree?
Personally, I stick to the same putter. I have a pretty heavy spin approach to my putt anyway, so it really does help me in the wind.
Sure.
But yeah, if I had more of a loft putt, I might change my putter. But personally, I have a pretty spin delivery, so usually I just try to spin it harder and cut through.
Sure.
Unfortunate bogey for Sean there. This hole did play a bit over par. Shout out to the two birdies on hole 14, Joe Nelson and Micah Moorhead. The hole did come in at like a 3.36, so it was playing a bit above average. Moving on to hole 15, par 3. A mere 205 feet, but it is far from a gimme. How do you like to play this one?
I like to flick a zone. You're going to see the drone come straight ahead here. You kind of want to lean to your right, and then you're going to send the zone up into the sky on the left there. It's only 205 feet, so you can throw it pretty high and then let it drop right into this natural, I guess you would call this a depression. If I'm feeling good on a certain day, I might throw a backhand, just flip it up to flat, some type of putter, like an Envy, slide it in with a backhand. But I think the forehand line's a little more forgiving, less trees you got to beat, but you're going to have to let the disc go and you're not really going to be able to see the flight. You just have to commit to the flight. That's kind of what Sam's doing here.
Kind of fortunate reaction off that tree. I mean, not fortunate in the sense that obviously he didn't want to hit that, but he didn't kick it too far left or right, just nosed it up and kind of kept it on the same path.
Yeah, I agree. You really cannot see too well to the left, like around the corner from this tree. There's a little mound right there, and the trees lean out. So Sam might not even have known it was there at all.
Depending on how far up that rolled and how obstructed it is, there's still definitely a chance for a birdie. Again, at 205 feet, the distance really isn't the issue here. It's more about placing yourself in a spot you can convert, and that was a beautiful shot.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way you want to do it.
No time wasted on that one. He just fires it up there. We have Trevor lining up a nice little window putt. Decides to go around that outside there and leave himself a fairly simple par approach, as long as the wind's not going to pick up too heavy on him. Great bid from Sam. A little high.
And all the baskets are like raised.
It's a good putt. It's still windy in here.
Oh, absolutely. Nice par from Trevor. Trying his best to hold on to that lead over the card right now. Great drive, great birdie.
That's me saying, what is that? Because I don't know what a birdie is.
Well, you hold tight to that memory because you earned it. That was a very well played hole. All right, moving on to the big one. Hole 16, par 5, 1,030 feet. That's a lot of feet. Why don't you describe this one?
Yeah, real par 5. You need real distance, and it's got to be accurate. You can't just blast power shots down the fairway and get an easy look. You definitely want to blast one off the tee here. Throw it over these trees on our left, and then we're going to fade down to a little shorter probably than where these guys are standing. And then that's going to set yourself up for either a forehand or a backhand where you just want to throw it straight. You can try some type of hero type shot if you want to go high here and split these two trees, but the better shot is just you want to land kind of where the drone is at now, and then you attack with a big spike hyzer from here to get a birdie. If you're a real power player, you could manufacture an eagle look on this, but you'd be taking a lot of risk, because if you're off the fairway on this hole, you're going to pay for it, and at 1,000 feet, you really want to be picking up at least 300 on every shot.
Well, and on top of just the difficulty level of the hole, the conditions that everyone's playing in today make such a big factor. And as you said, if you find yourself off the fairway at any point left or right, you are going to be struggling.
Yeah. This tee shot is a premium. It's windy. You know where the fairway is, but you're coming at it at such an angle, and Sam's done a nice job of it here. You just kind of want to throw a backhand straight and long, and then let the stability of the disc start turning you to the left. Excuse me, fading you to the left.
Yeah, Sam did a great job of that there. Trevor looking to follow suit.
It's a good tee shot, too, because you can cut off some of the hole if you decide to go inside with your drive and get yourself significantly further up the fairway, but it becomes a progressively more narrow shot.
Well, as you said, distance is necessary, but it is not the answer to the puzzle, which I think makes this a very well-designed hole, and that was a smash. But again, having to not only have the distance, but be able to place that kind of distance into specific landing zones make this a true par 5.
Yeah. This is the mature play. Just get yourself a little forward into the center of the fairway. If you start trying to come out here and throw rollers or turnovers, you're going to be in trouble.
Sam looking as though he was just trying to turn one over to keep straight over that gap.
He probably was, and it's tempting because you have the line and you know you can do it, but anytime you're off this fairway, you're almost always going to sacrifice one stroke just to get back into the fairway. There's no scramble lines behind these trees.
Yeah, it definitely appears that way, and it just puts you in contention, as you said, for adding stroke after stroke after stroke if you don't just put yourself right into the middle of the fairway to play the rest of the hole.
Yeah.
Because there's, as you said, there is nothing forgiving on either side of the fairway. So we'll have to see what they do from in there. Smart play, as you said. Sometimes you just got to take your lumps and move along, and you chipped yourself out to pretty prime position to be able to move forward from here.
Yeah, I actually really like my out shot. I did not like that up shot, but the out, you know, sometimes you just got to do this kind of thing and set yourself up for the next shot.
Set up for a hyzer.
We're looking for some flat skip, but as that grass gets wetter and wetter, you're going to get less ground play off of it throughout the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Up and over, and yeah, this looks like a whole new world.
You're like in the jungle, and then the beach is just right on the other side of the jungle.
Get a little taste of everything depending on how risky you are out here. But this is a well-placed shot after having to chip his way back out, so good on him. Sean here lining up a lengthy attempt. Great bid.
Yeah, it was a real go.
Nice. Don't blame me at all.
Yeah, very intelligent play from Sam there.
Nah, nobody really wants to run this basket.
I'm sure anybody that has played here, especially, you know, obviously in round one or preparing for the event, knows what this hole can do. So limiting damage on a hole like this is more important than attacking it in most cases.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely an equalizer, and I've seen some gigantic numbers taken on this hole. And conversely, if you can just play it for par, or even get a birdie, with just controlled shots, you can make up a lot of strokes.
Yeah, it by far played as the hardest hole for that round, coming in at a full stroke above par, so it averaged a 6. So you know that one had some teeth. Moving on to hole 17, par 3, 325 feet. How do you like to play this one?
What I like to do is take something overstable and throw it on a hyzer, flip it up to flat just temporarily, and then immediately start scooting over here to the left. You really need to get a skip to get all the way into this green. Although the gap is wider off the tee to go high, that is not the way to get this hole. This is kind of what you're looking for, but a little shorter. But that's like the line that you want. You just got to push it right at the cameraman back there.
Yeah, the height and the amount of ground play looked good, but as you said, you really do want to push it a little straighter. That definitely came out a little high inside for you.
That was a malfunction. You know, I'm trying to throw an overstable disc on a hyzer. That's too inside. That's closer to what you want.
Yeah, hard to see how far it actually did skip up due to the camera angle there. It's just kind of hard to see from there, but that definitely looked to be more ideal, and Trevor seems to be following suit. Skips a little early and catches that, but...
That's just the dice roll of the ground play when you're going for the skip.
What a shot.
I was excited about that, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that is a scramble mode activated. Great shot. Good bid from Sean there, too. He really is hunting those down when he's going for them.
Yes.
Trevor again going through the routine. What a bid, too.
Yeah.
He has been all over those today.
And you just see, like, it's 325 feet. Just fade a backhand in there, right? That's all you got to do. But it just plays significantly harder for the guardians of the trees, the weird skips that you get off the ground. Gap's a little tight. It's definitely not a gimme.
Yeah, just another testament to the course design and layout of the course, where you can turn something that, in a lot of other courses, 325 feet is just pretty much a formality for a lot of players in the MPO division. But when you have to hit the line and hit the right gap and put all that together, it just shows that a par 3 at 325 feet can still be challenging.
Yeah.
Here we are, hole 18, par 3, 235 feet. Why don't you walk us through this one?
Yeah, just bang a forehand at the sky back there, something overstable, maybe a mid-range, maybe your overstable approach of choice. It's pretty hard to drift a backhand turnover this far right with really any disc, even if you had a putter. So I think everybody's probably going to throw a forehand here. You do not want to push it long, which is a common mistake, but has some teeth to it, but very birdieable as well.
A little shy on the ground play, but honestly, I think good speed and good angle. Looking to kind of match that with a little bit more push to it.
Yeah, you cannot see your disc finish on this hole, so you just got to throw it out there and kind of like you have a landmark in your head. I'm going to throw at this tree or this branch and trust the stability of the disc to bring it back.
As you said, all players opting for that forehand, as it really does seem to be the best way to approach that. Trevor getting a bit deep, and as you said, you don't want to do that, and you can see why, because he has a lot to work with here. Oh, good bid. And as you said earlier, like, even though it is, again, 235 feet, very birdieable, you can see how hard everybody had to work for it if you don't hit the perfect placement on that shot.
Yeah, it's pretty narrow green, and these trees are really thick, so if you're anywhere behind them, they're difficult obstacles. Even that one, I think it was just affecting Trevor's putt a little bit. You know, he's got to put a little Anheuser.
Good putt. Yeah, it definitely forced him to aim off of center and try to adjust the angle. And as you've seen through most of the round, he's a very direct, straightforward putter. He's not really working too much hyzer or Anheuser angle. He just tries to get it to the pole. That's going to be an unfortunate bogey for Trevor, but definitely tightens the race for everybody on this card. Here we go, hole 19, another par 4, 560 feet. What do you think the play is on this one?
I thought a lot about this hole. Last year, the play was you had a big forehand smash up and to the left, but the trees have grown in significantly, so you pretty much have to go to the right. You can see that one thick tree up the middle and the skinny one to the right. That's kind of the gap that you want to go for. You can throw a forehand turnover through there. You can flip a backhand up through there. You got to get some distance out of this gap. It's not enough just to hit the gap. You're looking for at least, I don't know, 325 through here. And you really want to simplify this approach. Once you get past these two trees, you still got a way to go. There's hazard up there. This is a mounted basket, so you know that you don't want to have to be putting on this thing. And getting through that gap is really paramount if you want to get a birdie.
Yeah, again, it's another hole where distance is important, but not nearly as important as hitting a gap and hitting a line. So again, in my opinion, another well-designed par 4.
Yeah, you don't feel any wind because you're kind of in a little bit of a valley down here, and then as you get out into the open, the wind will resume. So you just got to keep that in mind with whatever you're throwing, how it's going to finish.
What are you throwing here?
That is a Daedalus. It's very understable. It's kind of my forehand flip-up turnover of choice.
Yeah.
And I just know that if I'm going to fire it at a gap, it's just going to start turning left. I was trying to throw a forehand turnover through that gap.
Yeah, unfortunate result off that one. Sam cranking out a backhand, finding himself to the left side of the fairway there.
Yeah. He's a good gap hitter, especially with the backhand. He's pretty accurate.
Here we have Trevor. I believe that's a Heimberg destroyer, if we saw that right earlier.
Yeah, he has been utilizing that disc frequently.
Unfortunate hit on the tree there. And that was a full commit. Lay it out.
Yeah, I knew I was going to have to do something weird. So I was just going to fire the disc and then figure out what to do with my body after. So just decided to lay down and take a break.
You know, sometimes we need it. Like you said, this is a hike of a course. 23 holes, par 4s,
Yes.
par 5s, elevations. You deserve a little siesta now and again. What a shot.
Yeah, that's a good shot from back there.
Yeah, once you're out of that gap, there is a lot of fairway to work with.
I threw an envy, and I decided to land in the one spot of hazard on the entire hole. But it happens.
Unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, that's why it's there. I guess somebody's got to do it, so the rest of the field thanks you for having to be that guy today. I'm sure you don't feel it, but... And speaking of fairways, if you go to fairwaymedia.golf, you might see a few Innova discs for purchase to help support the channel. Coverage like this is possible because of sponsors and people supporting the channel. So check that out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Let's put Northwest Disc Golf on the map and show people what a gem of a place we have. Smart play from Trevor. You can really hear the wind whipping there.
Oh yeah, it's awful. Onto an elevated basket out in the open like this. I think you're starting to see a little bit of match play from these guys in the top 3. We're on hole 19 out of 23. They're all trying to keep it within a stroke. And I am doing something similar with places 4, 5, and 6, etc. The cash line.
Yeah, every stroke matters, especially when you're towards the top of the field. You're vying, like you said, for placement and other things like that. So, great birdie from Sean. It's gonna tighten things up at the top there between the 3 of them.
Yep. Definitely comes a time in everyone's tournament, I think, especially as you become a more advanced player, where you might have to set your sights on second place or the cash line or whatever you're going to make out your own goal to be. You don't have to go out and feel like you have to win every single one.
Yeah, no point in throwing away strokes to try to chase something that may not be the goal at that point. I agree with that. Hole 20, par 3, 355 feet, pretty straightforward. What's your attack on this one?
I like to smash a forehand out to the left, let it fade back right, try and stay away from that hazard right there. You can definitely do just about the same exact thing with the backhand. Really just depends on what disc that you're feeling confident with. I'm guessing we're all going to throw whatever we've been leaning on all day. We're throwing from the top of this hill, and it is, as always, windy, so it's going to be a bit of a trust play.
Yeah, anytime you have to deal with, especially downhill elevation in the wind, it can really work some tricks on your disc. Sean going for that forehand play. Out pin high.
Yeah, it's a solid shot.
Sam also opting for the forehand.
Yeah. Like I was saying, I've known him for a while. I didn't know he had that kind of juice for his forehand. That's a 355-foot shot that he's putting pretty much in circle 1.
Yeah, and that did not look overexerted either. That was very, very clean form and just placed it right where he wanted it. Trevor opting for the backhand. Just has to miss this.
Yeah, and you saw he caught a tiny branch there, and that's the only risk with the backhand is kind of catching that on your way back to the basket. That is a Thunderbird. A little uncommitted. Gotta put more anhyzer on it, and then I'm trying to play it for the skip so I can get it close to the basket.
Good bid.
Yeah, the only thing in my head is like, don't land in the hazard.
Right. Understandable, understandable, and you accomplished that well. Sean with another short putt. That's been an unfortunate theme for him at times today. Just kind of knocking on that front door. Good effort from Trevor. Just one or two chain links high, not enough to really just absorb the energy and fall in and just kind of sprint back out a little bit. M card's the birdie. Taking now lead on the card. Yeah, reassessing where it hit there. It is quite the race on this lead card right now.
Indeed.
Moving on, getting close to the end here. Hole 21, par 3, 412 feet. What do you think the play is on this one?
I think the play is to crush a backhand out to the right and let it fade left, but like I was saying in the first round, if you haven't watched that coverage, go do so. There's like a little natural hill in the middle of this hole, so you kind of have to throw it over the top of the hill. No one in this card is lacking the distance to get it. Sam's got a nice line out of the hand.
Yeah, this is looking very nice.
And you see how like his shot was like straighter and lower? That's the way you want to do it. Even though you see this little hill, just because there's a hill there, you don't really want to just spike a hyzer in there. You want to throw it straighter.
Absolutely. Because you can see that hill that you see, it's temporary, right? That's not the actual ground level of the basket, so there's no need to really carry an upward momentum if you can just kind of fire it right over the top.
Yeah, that's what you're looking to do.
Trevor reaching back for that destroyer.
That's the distance you want, just the line's a little left.
Yeah, that is not the friendly side of the Guardian there. Looks like you have the trusty destroyer again.
Yeah, I didn't like the way that I played this backhand the first hole, so I was really trying to go with something that I just trusted more, which was that destroyer. I left it a little short, but I'm in the center of the fairway.
Well, it's important to make those adjustments too, so that you know you're playing to the best of your abilities and always thinking about what you're doing. And that was a good approach. That should leave you a fair chance at converting there. Far outside. Great bid. Great bid.
Yeah, it looked good from all of our angle too, because the disc is coming from right to the left, so it looked like it had a real chance.
It's outside? Yeah.
Trevor here is going to have to really try to find a nice little gap, and he does. So he gets it up there. Probably best case scenario from where he was at.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for Sam, just outside left. But again, on target, his misses are not big at all.
Just a little bit of a lack of focus from me. I'm aiming at the cage instead of the top of the basket. Got to put the requisite height underneath the putter if you want it to get over the cage.
That is indeed a fact.
Fantastic putt right there.
It's the first slider putt I've ever seen. right, here we are, hole 22, par 3 clocked in at 300 feet. And you can see what you have to deal with here, but I imagine there's a few options.
Yeah, I like the backhand flex line. I think you take a Thunderbird or a Firebird, something stable, and you want to throw it right at those two trees on the left, bend it to the right. Then we're going to get the disc to fly flat here and fade to the left. You can throw a huge spike over the top. It's risky. And then there's some backhand, some touchy forehand flip-up lines if you just want to go dead center, straight up the middle. Personally, I have a little more confidence as a player when I'm throwing on something that's stable and I can put a little anhyzer on it. But if you're a more finesse guy, you can definitely just throw a backhand flip up here and get yourself in birdie range.
Absolutely, and it does make sense at times, especially when it's windy, to lean towards stable or overstable, just because it does want to fight itself through the wind a little bit more.
Yeah.
It gets that one a little too low, but a fortunate skip to at least not ground itself right where it hit.
And it's tough to just go from like, hey, I'm going to throw a finesse backhand turnover after throwing all these shots right into the wind. Here's that over the top play.
Didn't quite get to see it finish, but again, as you said, that is still just a risky play.
Yeah, he's 2/3 of the way or so.
Split him.
So close to getting through the tightest gap on the fairway.
Yeah, we could all see him just tracking right towards those two trees.
What are you throwing here?
Thunderbird. It's actually a little bit of tailwind, so I know it's going to be more stable than usual.
That is piped up the center. Beautiful
That's
shot.
pretty much how I like to envision the shot.
Yeah, you can't do much better than that, especially on that lower route.
It's just a shot shape thing, too. Like, really whatever disc you're comfortable shaping the shot with is what you can throw here. It's only 300.
There's a good up there. You have Trevor lining up. Looked good out of the hand. It was a good bid. Confident bid. He's definitely vying to try to maybe take back a stroke on the card with that one. Getting yourself in the moment, feeling it.
I used the force to have it stop.
Had to use the force to keep that one where it was.
Yeah, I felt like my previous putts were low.
Nice putt.
Nice putt. So I wanted to send mine a little high, give it a chance to go in. But good putt by Trevor to come back.
Absolutely. Good putt from Sam. He knows it's important at this point with, one more to go and not knowing what is happening behind him at the moment unless he's checking. He knows that he is still, in a very tight race with everybody on the card here, the top three, so it's a very important putt.
He was definitely checking. Everybody's checking at this point.
Oh, my God.
Me and that basket have a little bit of beef.
It certainly sounds that way. All right, rounding it out, hole 23, par 3, 225 feet. What are you looking to do to end your round?
Looking to not putt if I don't have to, or anybody else, they don't want to do the same either. This basket is significantly more elevated in real life than on the footage. It's actually elevated and then it's on a mound. And the mound is very smooth, so the roll-away potential is very real. And you want your disc to slide up to the basket. It's really tough to even spike it on the basket or the mound itself because it's just going to roll back down.
Absolutely. Here we have Sam ripping a backhand at it. Gets a bit wide and behind. So he's going to have some work left on that putt.
Kind of hole that you're playing it with your friends in a casual, everybody's going to try and ace run it and then just tap in their birdies and walk away. But when you're in a tournament, that basket just looks a lot smaller.
Smaller and taller. Good little grab by the tree there to keep you within range.
Can I?
Yeah, I didn't even know that happened, to be honest. Can't quite see them finish around this corner. You got to scoot out to the right real quick as your disc flies.
Nice play from Trevor, just really playing to the front of the mound and letting it sit there.
Drop it.
Doing that final walk. Sam with an important putt here.
Are you kidding me?
Great bid, but about the worst thing that you could ever have happen.
Oh, did it stay?
I'll tell you what, though, he had to make a decision, right? He could have laid it up and then probably tied with Sean, but he went for the win. I like that.
Absolutely. And to be honest, I mean, now you can see that that last putt's probably in his head, but leading up to that point, his putts have been really clean, so you can't fault him for leaning on that confidence and knowing that he has that ability.
Nice job by Sean. Good win.
Oh, baby.
That one's come out.
It's in though.
Yeah, but
I didn't need the roll. Good plan. Yeah, the roll was
It almost came out, but it did not.
Yup.
I got a birdie.
Woo! That was, I think, my third or fourth birdie of the day.
Love to see it. There's that hype.
So I haven't had the scores loaded all day. I have no idea what people are at. Did Dan win?
no, I'm pretty sure Sean just won on that putt.
Yeah, we had you by one on that hole.
Fling champion, Sean Martin.
Congrats to Sean Martin. A well-fought victory.
And congrats, Sean. He's a guy in my area. I've seen him around a little bit. Never actually met him until that day. Good guy.
Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in to Fairway Media's coverage of the 2023 Summer's End Fling, brought to you by Fort George Brewery, Fort Stevens State Park, All Day Disc Golf, Matt Bailey Realty. And remember, if you go to fairwaymedia.golf, you just might see a few Innova discs for purchase to support the channel. And coverage like this is possible because of sponsors and patrons like yourself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. John, it's been a pleasure watching you play and doing commentary with you. Anything you'd like to say?
I had a great time. Thank you to Jesse Tomaino, who puts on these tournaments.
Absolutely. Take care, y'all.